We've been a leader in banking for more than 100 years. You'll find us here, at home, on your phone, and everywhere you go. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Sponsored by Renaissance Bank.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Journal Newsbreak for Tuesday, October 10th. I'm your host, Chris Kiefer. Remember, you can watch Newsbreak each weekday at 7 a.m. Watch us at djournal.com, Facebook, YouTube, or the Daily Journal's mobile apps for Apple and Android devices. We're going to take a look at today's top news and sports stories, but first, let's start with today's weather forecast. Today we're looking at thunderstorms with a high of 85 and a low of 65 and an 80% chance of rain. Your 3-day outlook: Wednesday, partly cloudy skies, high of 80, low of 53, 10% chance of rain. Thursday, sunny with a high of 82 and a low of 56 and a 10% chance of rain. And Friday, again sunny with a high of 85 and a low of 59 and a 10% chance of rain. Let's take a look now at today's top headlines. In the last 7 weeks, the Lee County Jail has gone from being severely overcrowded to housing about 90% of its capacity. Lee County Sheriff Jim Johnson said by reducing the population by about 70 inmates, the jail has become safer and the working environment is greatly improved. Through most of the summer, the jail housed 240 or more inmates in a facility designed for only 200. For the last 2 weeks, the daily number of inmates has averaged around 175. The reduction was accomplished by limiting the number of new inmates and releasing non-violent prisoners. The move was prompted by an August 21st vote by the Lee County Board of Supervisors to not build a larger jail. The Tupelo Police Department has always booked the bulk of the jail's inmates. Tupelo is averaging more than 325 incarcerations per month, but that number has been cut in half, Johnson said. So far, the changes have not made a big impact on smaller police departments. Lee County Board of Supervisors President Phil Morgan said officials plan to meet again in early November to map out the future of the jail. Central District Transportation Commissioner Dick Hall spoke Monday about the state's transportation needs and the legislature's unwillingness to tackle the issue. Hall, who has been Central District Commissioner since 1999, spoke Monday to the Mississippi State University Stennis Institute of Government Capitol Press Corps luncheon. Most legislators now agree with Hall that more needs to be spent on addressing state and local infrastructure needs. But a consensus has not been reached on a funding source. As he has done in the past, Hall said Monday that the tax on motor fuel is the most logical method of paying for the needs. The Department of Transportation currently relies on an 18.4 cent per gallon tax on motor fuels as its primary source of state revenue. That is one of the lowest taxes in the nation and has not increased since 1987. Hall said 26 states have increased their taxes on motor fuels in the past 4 years, and 8 have done so this year. He said there also needs to be a way to ensure owners of vehicles that do not rely on fossil fuels also contribute to road and bridge maintenance. For 15 years, Sherwin-Williams Paint Store has held a somewhat unassuming spot on Harmony Lane. That is about to change for Sherwin-Williams and the other stores sandwiched along Harmony between North Gloucester Street and Mall Drive. On October 25th, a 20,000 square foot Aldi grocery store will open directly across the street. It is expected to bring significantly more traffic to the area. Aldi is opening its first store in Northeast Mississippi. It will also open a Corinth location later this year. Sherwin-Williams manager Britt Harris and Napa Auto Parts manager Andrew Bishop each said they expect their business to pick up after Aldi opens. Meanwhile, the Barnes Crossing area will be getting some traffic relief in the near future. The Mississippi Department of Transportation has plans to repave the road between McCullough Boulevard overpass and the intersection of Beach Spring Road. MDOT also wants to add new turn lanes and extend some other turn lanes throughout the corridor. And it plans to update the stoplight signal patterns in an effort to improve traffic flow. And in sports, it's finally home sweet home for the Mississippi State and Ole Miss football teams. The Bulldogs are back inside Davis-Wade Stadium on Saturday. They will take on BYU at 11 a.m. in their first home game in nearly a month. MSU has played at home only twice this season. Its last appearance came on September 16th against LSU. The Bulldogs upset the then 12th-ranked Tigers that night in front of more than 60,000 fans. Coach Dan Mullen said he hopes his fan base is able to recreate that environment when the Cougars come to town this week. Meanwhile, in Oxford, Ole Miss coach Matt Luke declined to elevate the significance of his team's game against Vanderbilt this week. The Rebels and Commodores are both looking for their first SEC win, and there are reasons for a heightened sense of awareness for the Rebels. Aside from the second half at Auburn, they've barely been competitive during their 3-game losing streak. Luke said this week's game is the most important one, but only because it's the next game. It is the first home game for Ole Miss since they played Tennessee Martin on September 9th. And that does it for Newsbreak on this Tuesday. Don't forget that this show is just one of the many online offerings courtesy of the Daily Journal that gets you news off the page and on the go. Be sure to watch the Daily Journal's Capitol View webcast at djournal.com. This week, Capitol Bureau Chief Bobby Harrison talked about the state flag, the new religious freedom law, and Mississippi's opioid epidemic. Each story discussed on Newsbreak can be found in your Daily Journal or online at djournal.com, where you can also find a new episode of Newsbreak each weekday at 7 a.m. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Kiefer. Have a great Tuesday.